Hello, I'm Kads, and welcome to today's video. So we're coming to the end of the Granite Doorkeep fusion, and the portal is alight with a lovely yellow hue. So today we are not going to be pulling shards. Yes, you heard that right. This is going to be another episode of Shardless Champion Chase. You probably already knew that if you've been watching the streams lately, or you've just been watching the fusion plan where I talked about the possibility of doing this. As far as this fusion is concerned, for me, this is the last event that I need to do in order to secure all of the champions that I need to work on fusing the epics and the legendaries. So let's take a look at the Champion Chase tournament. So unfortunately, this is definitely the highest milestone we've seen or getting the rare for a fusion, so all the way out at 3,500, which is definitely a bummer. So I do like to call it out when it is, higher than normal. So 3,500 is the highest we've ever seen. However, I don't expect that to be the new normal or the new trend. I think they kind of make, it swings high, it swings low, and this is definitely swinging on the higher side for this particular case. And they typically tend to do the higher milestones when it comes to traditional stealth fusions for whatever reason. Now, with all that said, my only goal here is to get out to the 3,500 to secure that rare and thus secure the fusion. So we're going to try and pull that off without pulling any of my precious shards. So we can hop into the portal really quickly just to take a look at the overall shard count by account, even though we're not going to be pulling any today. But we have 566 on the ancients, 193 on the void, 63 on the primals, and then 48 on the sacreds. There is 2x on sacreds, of course. That is the boosted rate for the weekend, and on top of that there is a bonus chance to get Raphael, but it doesn't really matter to me. I don't really care that much about having exclusive champions that are only available during boosted rates and whatnot. It's just ridiculously unlikely that you're going to get them. I think for a standard 10x at the moment for the sacred shard pool, if you were to get a legendary, there'd be about a 5% chance that that legendary is going to be the boosted one. So there's a 95% chance that if you get a legendary, it's anyone else but the boosted one. So I don't bank on it, especially for exclusive champions. Now obviously I do have plenty of sacreds and I could use them to pull for 2x sacreds, and it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to do, just because there's a higher chance to get legendaries in general. But in my case, we're playing around my mercy. So this is my mercy tracker here on the screen. If you like a copy of this for yourself, it will be linked in the description box down below, so you can check that out. But as you can see here, we are 3 shards already, 3 sacred shards into mercy, and so I'd like to preserve that and use that towards a sacred pogo, or pull one get one, as I like to call it. And so I'd rather invest roughly on average, let's say, the same amount of sacreds, so somewhere between 7 and 10, and get 2 legendaries for the price of 1, instead of just rolling the dice on 2x and just getting 1 legendary, which is the more likely outcome. Obviously, if you get really lucky, you could get triple back-to-backs, or you get back-to-back and something like that. But we're assuming normal rates, normal odds here. So I'd rather get twice as much value for the same amount of shards. So we're going to hold off on pulling the sacreds. So what is our plan to get out to 3,500 points without pulling a single shard? So we definitely have to start off, of course, with the most obvious thing, that being the fusion epics. They are non-void epics, so we will get 250 points per, so that will be a grand total of 750. So I'll go ahead and fuse that and rejoin you guys really quickly. All right, third one here is being fused for the last 250 points for a grand total of 750. So that was in the bank, or that is in the bank now. And I guess I didn't talk too much about the fusion epic herself, but I do think that she's a pretty decent champion. I think she has like an AoE stun, so maybe she could be useful in faction wars. I definitely am lacking a little bit in the CC department for the dwarves. Obviously I won't be able to keep a copy of her because I'm going to use all the copies to get the legendary, but in the future I might happen to pull her from some shards, and so she's kind of on my list of epics that would be useful to get in the near term. But yeah, 750 points banked right there. And then we'll continue on with some fusions. I do have a couple of broad maws to fuse as well, and so that will be 350 points per, bringing me all the way out to, once we do both of these, I think 1,450. So if this was like a hybrid style fusion, or maybe like a fragment summon style fusion, this would in and of itself be enough. Like obviously if it's a fragment summon, you wouldn't have access to the rares because they wouldn't be part of the fusion, but you get the idea. But doing this similar amount of effort in terms of having broad maws and or relic keepers to fuse, this would be roughly where I would need to stop in a normal amount for a non-traditional style fusion. So 2 broad maws there, 3 of the fusion epics, 1,450 points so far, and then we will close it out by ripping through all of my remaining remnant summons, which is definitely hurts to do because I do like having this as kind of like the last resort option. But like I said, we're trying to preserve mercy here, and obviously I could pull ancients, I could pull voids, but that just doesn't feel worth it because of course those aren't boosted either. or those are not boosted at all. So we're going to opt for the Remnant summons. And I guess I'll mention that I do also have, decent amount of legendaries here. So if I really, really needed to penny pinch, I could just start summoning some of these Doom Tower guys that are probably never going to see the light of day, but they could be worth 500 points each. But in this case, we're going to go with the Remnant summons because I'm somewhat banking on the fact that we're probably going to get, 1 to 2, maybe 3 Void Epics out of this. And mathematically, if I get like the worst odds ever, we pull 8 of these, they're 250 a pop for non-Void Epics, we'd be at 3450, so we'd be just shy, but I could obviously do the rest of that in Mystery Shards if need be. But I'm expecting at least 1 Void Epic along the way, which should close that gap. So without further ado, let's get it cracking here. And again, hopefully we can get some Void Epics along the way. Rearguard Sergeant, decent epic, great for not control, but keeping your teammates alive. So AoE decreased attack, granted not 100% chance. Ally protection, she's excellent in decreased defense on the A1. She's really excellent if you pull her early for like a nested ally protection team for Demon Lord Clan boss progressing into Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare. Another epic here, Gerhard the Stone. He is a single target nuker who hits decently hard from what I've heard. He's immune to a bunch of CC, but more importantly for my account, he will empower my Archmage helmet, which is good. So I think he will be, that might be the +4. That might be the +4. We'll kind of see. Delaja here, definitely an important Lizardman epic, specifically for the Doom Tower Secret Room. That's epic Lizardman only, but also Curse City. She's come in handy a couple of times. But she can place the shield, continuous heal, so decent healer for your team. AoE decrease attack, helps your team stay alive, reduces damage. She counterattacks when Lizardmen are on the team, so she's kind of decent for faction wars if you really run a runner for that. And then poisons on the A1, which synergizes, of course, with the counterattack. So 3 non-Void epics in a row. Hopefully we can get a Void epic. No, we get Vrask. Decent champion as well. One of the better epic healers in the game. A lot of people like to run him in Relentless for the extra turns and just kind of spam the A1, but I found that in PvE, you get attacked more than you do attacking, and so I actually run him in Retaliation. And so all he has to do is counterattack. He gets a little bit of turn meter, but more importantly, when he crits, assuming you build him with 100% crit rate, which you should, and as high HP as possible after that, he'll just get a free heal, and then he also builds a turn meter, which helps him cut in, get extra turns. And so I just find that he ends up healing a lot more with the Retaliation set compared to a Relentless set. But I guess maybe you could run them together, Relentless and 2-piece Retaliation. So 4 non-Void epics in a row, and this is what we prepared for mentally. This is potentially the worst possible outcome here. 5th one is going to be another non-Void epic, Gore Grab. This is your like de facto reviver for the undead hordes if you don't have access to like Siffy or anyone of that ilk. So Gore Grab definitely comes in. He's also like the mini Arbiter if you happen to pull him early, but I think nowadays people get Arbiter pretty darn fast, so he may not come into play for your early game anymore, but he has the same or similar ability with a turn meter fill, increased attack. But yeah, primarily in the end game, this is probably most people's reviver for undead hordes, faction wars, and maybe in the Cursed City as well, depending on the need. So 3 remnant summons to go. We're still looking for the Void epic. Oh man, we're just not hitting it today. Ursine Ice Crusher. This is the worst bear of the 2. Unfortunately, AoE decrease crit rate is very, very weak. It's a decent like debuff, but it's just not what you really want. Block active skills, small chance to land on the A1. Not great. His passive is annoying, gets a lot of turn meter, but he's more annoying like as an enemy combatant versus being on your team. So 2 remaining. Another epic. We get the Void epic. No, non-Void. All 7 in a row non-Void epics. That 15% chance is not proccing here, unfortunately. So Wuji, really squishy champion. Even when she's like fully leveled, I think she has like 11,000 base HP, so it's really hard to keep alive attack based. But she does have counterattack and Veil. She can do, I believe this becomes an AoE when counterattacking. Yeah, so you get AoE weaken, and then yeah, block buffs here on a 4-turn cooldown. Not the best chance to land, but decent. And some, you've probably seen her in showcased on some like super endgame teams in Hydra and stuff like that, doing crazy damage. But she can work, but she's ridiculously hard to keep alive. And then I guess we have to go all the way in the final one, the last epic for the day, and it's another non-Void. Okay, I guess we're going bare bones today. We're gonna have to do the rest in Mystery Shards really quickly. But yeah, Gorlos Helma, really good faction wars champion, AoE decrease defense or debuffer for that faction most likely. AoE decrease defense turn meter fill on the A1, and then HP burn, decrease accuracy, single target ability. So yeah, there we go. So that should mathematically, we can double check, but we should be just shy of the points it may or may not have updated in the tournament itself. Or no, okay, slight overshoot, or maybe there's I guess there's probably some rares that I've gotten from running the campaign. I didn't check what my initial value was, but yeah, I've been running champion training, so I've been getting the incubi, I guess, and the rares from champion training, so that probably gave me a little bit of extra in terms of points. And so yeah, I mean, it's basically where we needed to be. We overshot slightly 100 points, but that's still within the realm of the 8 remnants. And again, hey, we got bad RNG, guys. It can happen. It can totally happen. It's not always raining mythicals on my account. So we got not even a void epic the whole time there, but we got some decent epics that are going to be at least somewhat useful on my account. So we claim all of these, and like I said, practically speaking, the fusion is now done for me. That is the 16th rare out of 16. However, there is still, thankfully, a champion training event going on right now, and as you can see, we just summoned 3 of the epics, so I still have to level those all the way up. But yeah, we have a day and a half to go, plenty of time, 3,000-ish points to go. Well, I plan to go all the way out here to the Eternal Soul Coins. For those who care, I did happen to finally get the Siphi the Lost Bride 6-star soul from my soul merchant, so she is now 6-star finally with intimidating presence. That's exciting for me, a little bit, or a lot more speed, actually 15. But basically, I nuked all of my Eternal Soul Coins, so getting a re-up a little bit of 400 is kind of beneficial to me towards the next 5-star, 6-star champion, which on my account, at least in the near term, is planned to be Marius. So it's going to be probably another 6 to 7 months before that happens, before I get enough coins and essence to pull that off. But nonetheless, we got to start from scratch and to start building towards that next champion. So yeah, that is going to do it for today's episode of Shardless Champion Chase. We basically did exactly as planned. We got the 3 fusion epics, 2 broadmaws, and all 8 of my remaining remnant summons for a grand total of, I guess, 3,600 points. Plus, like I said, some campaign farming has yielded a couple of uncommons and rares that pushed us a little bit further over the edge. So there you go. Let me know in the comment section down below, did you also go for a Shardless Champion Chase? I know there's hints of that in my comment section prior, but also it is 2x Sacreds, which objectively isn't the worst time to pull. Sometimes it can be good, sometimes it can be definitely devastating. Kind of just depends on RNG, of course. But let me know if you ended up pulling some shards for this particular champ chase to secure this fusion, or just let me know if you're skipping the fusion, and none of this matters at all to you. As always, if you did find this video helpful, then be sure to hit that like button down below. It really does help out the channel, and feel free to hit the subscribe button down below as well, if and only if you're enjoying the content overall on this channel, for more content just like this one in the future. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.